Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mark Talks Football. Now, I wanted to do this episode as a little of explainer. A couple of episodes ago, there was a lot of old white men in the comments of the Facebook page that I did that started having a go at me for saying how negative views I have. So, at the last episode, I took the piss out of them by trying to be the most positive I could possibly be about a 1-1 draw. But I thought to myself, why not do an in-depth explainer to some of the people that may not understand why there is a negative backlash to exactly what's happening at Reading Football Club, or why people want Noel Hunt to leave? Now, let me be very frank and clear on this with my standpoint. I don't want Noel Hunt to leave until the end of this month or up until the next international break. Because what I feel like is that maybe the next international break will be the telling point of how good this side is going to be or not going to be under the tutelage of Noel Hunt. He now has had 2 months, maybe a month and a half, since the end of the transfer window to gel this squad all together. Now, to some managers, that may not be enough. But when you're a League One side and you need to get out of League One as quickly as possible, it sort of is enough time. We're now seeing managers around where we are starting to get sacked. You know, Wycombe Wanderers have sacked their manager, Blackpool have sacked their manager, Luton have sacked their manager as well. So there are teams in and around the area that we're in that are starting to sack managers. So the episode here today is I have got a formation tab up. I'm going to explain to you why it's not working and what I would do. And I've done this before with a 4-3-3 and what I would do if I was Reading manager to get this going. So there's quite a long intro, but let's get into this. Right. I've had a swig of a drink, so I'm now refreshed, ready to go. And what I'm going to do is firstly, I want to show you this window here. So this window here is going to be sort of, let me get a background. The background can stay black because if I add something to it, we could have lag galore. Let me move this out of the way as well. Right, so this is the team that was played on Saturday. Okay, if you can't see it, I'll try and zoom in as much as I can. Here we go. So this was the team that was played on Saturday. If you didn't know already, that was the team. And down here below is the substitutes bench as well. Ben Elliott still not getting off the bench, and I'll explain why I don't think he trusts Ben Elliott. But I'm going to give it in two parts: why I think he's doing it and what I think of the situation. So I'm going to give it two parts, but that's a little bit later on. And also, as well, the reason why Reading fans are up in arms and not happy at the moment is let's have a look at the league table. We currently sit all the way down in 19th. We know the 19th, 10 games have been played, 2 wins, 4 draws, 4 losses, 11 goals scored, 15 conceded, minus 4 goal difference of a plus 10, with 10 points, sorry. We play Mansfield, who currently sit 12th. Yes, higher up, should be beating them. Luton have sacked their manager. They sit 11th. We know that Wycombe Wanderers have sacked their manager. Blackpool have sacked their manager as well. I don't know what's going to happen with this. So what I want to look at is, before we go any further, is I had a little hint about talking about the stats that we had on Saturday. So with the stats that we had on Saturday was 60.5% possession. We had 16 shots compared to their 14, and only 3 of those 16 were on target. 7 of them were off, and 6 of them were blocked. We had a passing percentage of 86.4%. We only had 1 clear-cut chance, 4 corners, and they had 2 offsides. This is when it gets a bit worrying for me when we start looking down here. Tackles 1. 41.7% of tackles won. That's poor. That's less than half tackles you're making, you're getting. That's poor. Next up as well, we committed 13 fouls compared to their 13. We won 13 compared to their 11. And we had 2 yellow cards compared to their 1. So this was the overall view of things. That's where we saw Mansfield Town coming in as well. We know where they're going and what they're doing, and this is Reading Football Club. with Jack Marriott now getting 5 goals in five. Now I want to explain to you exactly why the 4-2-3-1 that he deployed for the first time after the game that we had against Leighton Orient, when he changed it at the end of the Leighton Orient game to a 4-2-3-1 and worked, why he got this wrong to a certain extent. Because what happened was, let's say Leighton Mansfield were doing this, okay? Let's say when they were defending, when we were defending, we were doing this, right? That is what we were doing. Let's say there's the football over here with the back four, okay? So the football's with their back four, and that's exactly what we were doing, right? We were having this flat back, and what they were doing is if the ball was traveling this way, he would just travel here, and that would go forward, and he would come forward, and he would sort of try and break down. But Daniel would stay here. So then there was this massive gap because Kamari Doyle was moving over this side. Because there was this massive gap every single time on Saturday of when they were passing the ball, they were so open in the midfield area that it was just getting a bit pointless. We were so overrun in the midfield area that it looked like we weren't going to find a way of getting back into this. That was number. I don't understand why there's an arrow there. I can't. Okay, you just double click it. How do I fucking get rid of it? Do I delete it? No. All right. Kamari Doyle is good. There we go. So that's how it was going. So when every time Mansfield would do this, they would then overload over here. And then you now have certain players all in one side. You've got Savage that's coming over here, Daniel over there, Dorset and Finn Burns coming up here, and Jacob going along here. So now you've got 3 players open. And I'm teaching my daughter, if you don't understand football and you don't understand tactics, I'm going to put it in a way that I put to my daughter. And my daughter is triangles wins games. Okay, triangles wins you games. And triangles are a way that you will see professional football coaches teach their team. I got taught it when I was a football coach, of when I was getting my badges of how to use the triangles. When you're playing as a footballer, you are told exactly where you're meant to be when you're doing things as a triangle. And as you'll see in Mansfield were in the yellow. That's what they were doing, and that's what they were doing. They were overloading us here. So if we go back here, and that was one of the key openings that we saw for them as well, of where they're doing things. Let's put them into a 4-2-3-1. I don't think that's what they used. I can't really remember, but we're going to go with it anyway. So right. So then the issue with Reading of what we were doing was always from goal kicks, we were doing this. Right? That's what we were doing. Every single time. It was you either go short to Burns or Dorset, or you go to Lewis Wing, and then you'll have Savage here with Doyle just sort of hanging around here with Marriott always up here. Right? So those were the way of doing things and the way that it was looking of where we were doing goal kicks. Because then Mansfield then did this. They then come up and they were blocking every avenue that we had that would look good in a 4-2-3-1. What the fuck? Why have I got an extra person there? Into a 4-2-3-1. Right? They were coming up and they were doing that. What happens is if you go short, there's nowhere to go. Okay? Tactically, if he goes there, he's going to be right on him. If he goes there, he's going to cut in, he's going to go across. Savage or Doyle should then come in, which they weren't doing. Then what they were doing, trying to do, is flick it over the top and Ahmed trying to get down the line. They were trying to get the wing backs into play a lot more than what they probably needed to do. And what I will say is as well that that is how things were going to start off with the game. So they needed to change things up. They needed to go long, which they never did. We had 60% possession, and about 50% of that was when we were in our own half. from when we were trying to deal with things from that. So it was very much of trying to solidify ourselves to do it. Now, the problem that we had here is if we're going on the attack, is Marriott would go here, Daniel there, Elaine would come in, Ahmed would stay out wide, Jacob will come down here, Savage would then float around this way here and come here. Kamari Doyle would come around there, and Lewis Wing would have this area here to play around with and do it. Then what they would do is, if Lewis Wing picks up the ball, was he would ping it either all the way over to here or all the way over to there. There is no movement, or if Savage and Wing were passing it to each other, which, by the way, I don't get the Savage hate at the moment because his energy of what he's doing is the reason why we are where we are. I've now found that I am now, thank you, of doing things. So that's how it was going for us. And that was the issue. The long ball over the top through ball football is not working. But it's a bit like under Yapstam, the football we had under him, where it was very much his philosophy of playing football, which was passing up the back, slow, methodical passing, Dutch football, was the way to go forward. And that was the issue, was there was no plan B if a team found you out. There wasn't a plan B for a team like Mansfield who were going to come here, sit back a little bit and hit on the counter, which they did a few times and probably should have done better in certain circumstances as well. This is not me shitting on Noel Hunt. This is philosophy of football. And when things are not going your way, the best managers in the world, or best managers that have ever existed, or the best managers we've ever had, have changed the way of doing things. You look at Ruben Sellers. He had his chance of doing that 4-2-4 that he loved. He then changed it to a 4-2-3-1, which was working slightly, but not well enough. Then changed it. No, we changed it to a 4-3-3. Then changed it to a 4-2-3-1, which then worked. Which then got him all the recognition for him to then go on to Hull and then go on to Sheffield United. So that's how it's going to work. But if you're going to work this 4-2-3-1, it's not simple, but it's the best way. These two here have to be doing the same thing. You can't be having Wing doing this, because if he's doing this, he has to do this. Wherever Wing's side goes, Savage has to go the other way. If Wing comes back this way, Savage has to go this way. They weren't doing that. So that's what they have to do. Ahmed, as if he's going up and down the wing here, if he's going all the way down the wing here, Finn Burns needs to come over here, Dorset needs to come over, Jacobs needs to cut in, Kawara needs to go, and Marriott needs to come, and Paddy Lane, along with Wing, and then Savage can cover Wing. You're then overloading the right-hand side. You're now making sure that that right-hand side of Mansfield, or right-hand side for us, the left-hand side for Mansfield, is overloaded with Reading players. Because then what you've got is then Jacob can move up to about here, Savage can come here, and Kamari Doyle can turn that into a 4-4-2. Can come around, wherever Jack Marriott wants to go, Kamari Doyle goes the other way. Marriott wants to go near the near post. Kamari Doyle should be going, and Daniel Karawa should be going in here. Paddy Lane should be coming on here. Ahmed, if Paddy Lane's got it, should be coming to about here, and Paddy Lane should have it here. You're then got the options of Savage and Wing to come down here and Jacobs to follow. You're then not overloading too much of going forward. You still have your two centre backs. You'll have Jacobs that will come a little bit around here, and then you'll have Savage not pushing too far forward and Wing trying to roam around here. But you'll have Savage then placing himself in the middle for Wing to go around there. That's what should be done. Because then, as you'll see, is if you put a blanket, you've got 5 Reading players all in one place over here. Then, if they all come over, right? You've got all of these players coming back to defend, right? You've now got the option of him. You've got the option of moving him back, or pushing him forward, or pushing him back and put him there. Drop one of these two back into this spaces and drop him on the edge of the defender there. Because then what you can do is put the ball into the corridor of uncertainty, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 players who could potentially get on the end of that. Paddy Lane had a horrendous miss on Saturday. Horrendous. But he'll learn from that. He'll work on from that, and we move forward. But that's the idea of what you're looking to do and the way that it needs to be done. Because then what you can do is you can have Wing here, you can have Savage, or if you want, you can have Savage here. Because then the defenders will have to go back. There's a big gap here. You can have Jacobs coming in. They're that inverted wing back. Same with Ahmed. Have Wing here. You've got Dorset and Burns at the back here as well. So you're overloading a side, but you're also pushing them and pressing them back as well where they don't want to be. And the problem is when they have a goal kick, we sit so far back that we're allowing them to move out with the ball and try and use their long ball football. And thankfully, majority of the time that they had on Saturday, it didn't go to plan. So thankfully for us, it didn't go the way that Mansfield wanted. But then at the same time, why are we relying at home with a team that I say, and I'm confident in saying, is a top 10 side, to be relying on long balls and them making mistakes and not us forcing them into mistakes? We got a couple of tricky games coming up for us now on Saturday where we will be playing Exeter United. So let me I got rid of all the tabs that I just did. Exit versus Reading. Okay. So currently Exeter City are sitting in 17th. They are 2 points ahead of us in the league at this precise moment. Former Royal player as well, Wareham, will be starting for them as well. Last 5 matches as well. For Wrexham, they've lost 4 of their last 5. The last win that they had is they were able to beat Lincoln. It was Saturday where they beat Lincoln City in the 94th minute from Kevin McDonald for a game there where Lincoln had every single stat in their favour bar one, which was pass accuracy, where they had the less than them. But if we look at lineups as well, Jaden Wareham is not He is starting. He got substituted after 82 minutes. Total of 1 shot against Lincoln City so far this season. And let's have a look with him as well. Former Royal from us so far. This season's played 11 matches, 2 goals, 1 assist so far this season, and 1 game in the Football League trophy as well. Exeter look like a side that they're in the same type of form as what we are. We're away from home at Exeter, so this has to be a win for us. If this is anything other than a loss, because we then have Cardiff City coming up the week after away from home, where we are away at Cardiff, who currently sit 3rd in the league, 2 points behind the leaders Stevenage, 1 point behind second place in Bradford, and Lincoln as well, a team that Exeter beat for the form, currently sit 4th, so they're going to get the momentum on their side as well. And if we look, sorry, I do apologise, at Exeter as well, if we look at the matches, and according to the last match that they played in, they finished with a 5-2-3. 5 at the back, 2 defensive midfielders, 1 attacking midfielder, 2 strikers, with Wareham and Magnus up top for them as well. So interesting to see exactly what they do and what's going to happen on Saturday. Noel Hunt has to win because coming up for the next games he's got, as I said, as of this recording, I am recording this before the MK Dons game because I'm a very busy man at the moment and I'm not that busy. I just want to spend more time with my wife. So I'm recording this on a different day, earlier in the day. And I'm also not going to lie, I normally record this straight after Bake Off because I love watching Bake Off. So that's the thing. And then after Cardiff, we are home against Northampton, which will be the Tuesday night game, which is the rescheduled one. And that will be the game. And then we end the month against Doncaster United. So it will be all about whether I reckon it will be up to Doncaster because then there seems to be quite a bit of a gap up until the next game, which is Stevenage, who are currently Thursday the 6th. So there's a week and a half after that game until we play Stevenage on Thursday the 6th of November for that. So We will be doing a review of that, but that will come after. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that one, but we will see. But I'm going to end the episode there today. This is not overly negative. It can be fixed. It just needs to be, the tactics need to be twinkered to the point of where what we need to be doing instead of what we're doing, because things are not working. So they have to change things up to do things, and it's up to Noel Hunt and his staff to do that. I've given opportunities and options for that to be done. I'm not saying they're going to watch my video for it to be done, but there is options out there. I also don't want Noel Hunt. I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself, but I don't want Noel Hunt sacked. I want him to work. I want him to do well. A Reading legend, and I want Reading legend to do well. But there is a more market out there for well more experienced managers than there is for Noel Hunt. So it's up to him to get the results. People saying you need to give him to the end of the season, absolutely fucking not. You've got to the end of the month for me, and then things could get interesting. So if you haven't already, please make sure, if you have, that to hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, stick around for more content coming your way. We're waiting for, we've come into the end of FM24 over the next few weeks. We're going to be trying to win the Champions League with this Greek side that we're in. So make sure you check out to see how we do. And then we're going to be looking forward to FM24. There's a lot of a video. There was a video that came out on Monday, on the 6th of October, around about 6 o'clock. If you want to go back and watch, it's a special video where we then described exactly what we're going to be doing for WWE 2K25 and Football Manager 26. So please, if you can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, stick around for more content coming your way. But with love, with care, mine has been Mark. You guys have been amazing.